Good afternoon. My name is Dirk, Ballast, and I'm here with the rest of my group to discuss our proposal for a new campus sustainability initiative, Reducing Food Waste with Winnow. Before we get started, I would like to highlight a quote from the IKEA sustainability manager, Anders Lennartson. And we want to highlight this quote because we think it really embodies our presentation and what we're trying to accomplish as a whole. So he says we can challenge ourselves to use food in a much more sensible way. By doing that, we will be at the same time saving the environment and saving costs. So in our presentation, we'll talk a little bit about the background of the issue at hand and what we're trying to accomplish. We'll talk in detail about our proposal and the plan for implementing this proposal. We'll also include a schedule for basically a detailed timeline about the implementation process. We will go over the forecast, basically how we believe our proposal will positively impact the university from both an economic and environmental standpoint. We will include any relevant calculations in our list of figures. And then before we wrap it up with our conclusion, we would like to talk about some successful implementations. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Tyler, and he's going to talk about the background.
Thanks, Dirk. So last year, over 80 billion pounds of food were thrown away just in the United States. That is more than $161 billion and equates to about 219 pounds of food per person. When we look at these statistics and then look around the globe at childhood hunger, we must realize the time to fix this problem was decades ago. Now, how can we, a small community in Central Texas, take steps to solve this issue? Well, Winnow is the answer. Winnow is the kitchen of the future, and its main goal is to considerably cut down on food wastes through AI systems that will increase profits while being incredibly easy to implement and to use. Winnow is a technology that is an obvious partner to anyone that wishes to be on the side of sustainability and good ethics. One of the biggest upsides of this technology is that, according to the website, users can be trained in as little as 15 minutes on how to use the system that will help manage waste and increase productivity. A good example of this system working effectively is IKEA. In 2017, they installed Winnow in the Netherlands, and by the end of the year, waste was down significantly, and they had saved over 100,000 euros. In total, it is estimated that they saved over 15,000 meals, and with numbers like that, they're making serious contributions towards slowing down the waste that we as humans produce. In fact, IKEA was so happy with the results that they made this store the blueprint for other stores to work off of in the future. Now, our team at Texas State believes that our university strives to be on the good side of ethical standing and sustainability. Now, with this program, not only will the university do that, but they will also see a jump in profit, a cut in food costs, and fast and reliable return on investment. Right now, Texas State does do composting with leftover food waste. However, this program will be more beneficial to everyone, and there will always be more waste from other outlets that we can contribute to composting efforts. Overall, this system will hold a greater benefit not only for the university, but for the citizens of our city, and a step in the right direction for the entire world. Back to Dirk.
Thank you, Tyler. So our proposal is fairly simple. We would like to implement Winnow's food waste reduction technologies in the two on-campus dining locations, or cafeteria dining locations on campus, which are Commons and Harris. And we are suggesting this for a number of reasons. One of the main reasons is because we recognize that there are a lot of dining locations on campus that are not directly affiliated with the university. So from a logistics standpoint, we want to simplify the implementation while still maximizing the overall benefit. We're also aware that Texas State does have some current food waste initiatives in place. Like Tyler said, there are composting initiatives. There's also recycling initiatives and food waste compactors. I want to talk more about the food waste compactors. So the Office of Sustainability here at Texas State states that the food waste compactors in our university dining halls can compact food waste at a 3-to-1 ratio. What they're really trying to do is reduce the overall size of the food waste to save on shipping costs to local landfills and dumping sites. But we wanted to focus on a solution that targeted a different spot in the problem. So with our solution, we're actually reducing the volume of food that is thrown away rather than the actual size per se. So we believe that by doing this, by coupling Texas State's current initiatives with the Winnow solution, we can maximize our savings and reduce our overall carbon footprint to an even greater degree. Next, I want to go over our plan, which is also fairly simple. Again, we would like to install both of these Winnow systems in early August of 2021. And we say this because we would like to implement these systems in a higher volume season. It's no secret that on-campus dining locations are much less frequented during the summer semesters. So in order to truly maximize our return on investment and increase the accuracy of the data that we're collecting, we're suggesting that the implementation take place in early August. Next, I say early August because we want to provide enough time for our staff to become acclimated with these new technologies. Like Tyler had previously stated again, these systems are not very hard to use and not very hard to learn how to use. But we still want to give them enough time to really get comfortable with it. So that way, when the semester starts, we can be operating at maximum efficiency. We believe that 2 weeks prior to the start of the semester should be plenty of time for our staff to be put in that position where they're comfortable. And then the last aspect of our plan, and maybe the most important aspect, is how we plan on acquiring the necessary funds required to take on this project. By looking at the demographics on who is actually using on-campus dining locations, we found that freshmen frequent these locations the most, and this is because they are required to have meal plan packages if they are living on campus, and this applies to most, if not all, freshmen. So by doing this, we took the most recent freshman enrollment statistics at Texas State, which I believe is from 2018. And by adding a $2 increase to the current price of meal plan packages, we can fully cover the costs of this project every single year. We also suggest this way because we wanted to find a more concrete and solid method of raising funds, since this is going to be an annual cost. If we were doing something like a fundraiser, this is something that we'd have to do every single year, plan it each year, and make sure that we were acquiring the necessary funds. But by adding a $2 increase to the meal plan package price, we can ensure that we'll have the proper funding to carry out this project. So next, I'm going to pass it on to Kyle, and he's going to go over the timeline for the implementation process, basically our schedule.
All right, thank you, Dirk. So as a more specific outline of the schedule, on August 9th is when we're going to install the Winnow systems in both the Commons and the Harris dining halls. We're going to install those, and then from the 9th to the 20th, so almost a 2-week time period, as Dirk had explained, just making sure the staff and everyone's comfortable with how Winnow works. And then the staff will be able to be comfortable with it once students come to campus. But our main goal is August 23rd of 2021 is the first day of classes. So that's when the system implementation will be in full swing and everyone will be able to get used to the Winnow systems we have in both of the dining halls. So that's the schedule, and I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on over to Adrien for our forecast.
All right, thanks, Kyle. So in the forecast, I'm going to talk more about the numbers. How do we come up with the numbers? How do we come up with the funding to make Texas State efficiently partners with Winnow? So let's go back to IKEA. So according to IKEA, they were able to reduce their food waste by a whopping 40%. So with an estimated savings around $121,000 in the first year alone. But I think most importantly, on top of that, IKEA sustainability officials stated that they were able to save around 15,862 meals in that 1 year itself. So that is a very interesting figure. Next slide, please. So this is what Texas State can do and what Texas State has to do in terms of funding this project. So the initial cost needed is around $12,000 annually. That's because the Winnow offers a couple of different models ranging from $300 to $600. So we take a little bit in the middle, which is around $500 a month. And if we're trying to install the Winnow technology in 2 dining halls, that'll be around $1,000 of cost a month. So we multiply that by 12 months, that makes it $12,000 initial cost in the year. So according to Winnow, their users are expected to see returns of up to 2 to 10 times in the first year of operation. So with that number, Texas State can save around $119,000 per year. So this estimates aligns with that prediction that Winnow gave to the users. Next slide, please. So this is an in-depth about the numbers. How do we come up with $12,000? So that's the cost, I'm sorry. So the cost to start this project is $12,000. And how do we start the funding? So like Dirk mentioned earlier, most of the freshmen that are enrolled, they're probably going to have to enroll in some type of a meal plan. So if we increase that meal plan package by $2, that'll enable us to raise around $12,174, and that'll cover the initial cost. Next slide, please. So this is the savings plan. So taking that number from IKEA, they were able to save around 15,000 food being wasted. So IKEA has a similar method of restaurant, so to speak, their cafeteria style, very similar to what we have here in Texas State. So if we plug in that number and we multiply it by the average cost of a dining hall, which is around $7.50, that's an estimated savings of $118,965,000. So that's very close to what Winnow's projected return on investment, which is around 120,000, assuming that Texas State are able to come up to go to that number, to that prediction. Next, I'm gonna pass it back to Dirk.
Thank you, Adrien. So before we wrap it up, we wanted to talk about another successful implementation other than IKEA. So this is a school in Cambridge, United Kingdom. And similar to IKEA, they were able to cut their food waste by 40% in the first year and saved an equivalent of 13 tons of greenhouse gas emissions. So I'm just going to play this video real quick.
The food at St Faith's is a really good mixture of favourites and British classics, very familiar dishes, as well as some really modern and innovative dishes, pop-ups and theatre dishes that add a bit of excitement to the pupils' lunch offer.
We were contacted by Compass as they're keen to try and roll out the Winnow system in the Chartwell's independent sector. And we jumped at the opportunity to try and also look at ways where we could reduce our food waste.
Food waste is an ongoing problem and it's very bad because many people do it and they don't realise how much food they're actually wasting.
The food that we waste is the food that we buy, so when we're wasting it, we're wasting money.
It's great that we can save 7,000 meals a year from a cost point of view. That means we can spend that money on the pupils' food and make sure they've got new and exciting dishes every day.
I was surprised to see this kitchen reducing food waste by 40%. It shows how efficient the team is getting, and the Winnow report has helped us a lot.
I think Winnow's really helped us run more efficiently, training the team in food waste and watching every step of the process of what we do. It's really helped us hone our skills in managing the food production and the wastage levels.
All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Kyle, and he's going to close us out with our conclusion.
So to conclude, of all the information and research and estimations that we have made, reducing Texas State's carbon footprint is the plan to not only make the campus and San Marcos a more sustainable place to live, but it will also open up more opportunities as a campus to spend money on any technologies or more food or whatever the case may be. So not only with opening up other options, it's a perfect technology because out of all the sustainability options that there are available, we believe as a group that this is the most simple and effective one that tech can implement in terms of effectiveness, more along the lines of an economic and environmental standpoint. So all in all, making the campus more sustainable and expanding out into other options with the money that we save is a reason we believe that Winnow is the best option for us to implement at Texas State. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll open up for any questions.